Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video, we're discussing The Man Who Died Twice, written by Richard Osman. It's book 2 in the Thursday Murder Club series. It's a cozy mystery series, and book 1 I found wonderful. I rated book 1 5 stars. This book is not as good as book 1, and for two main reasons. The first is the mystery. The mystery just felt overreached in some ways, and it made it feel less real. The second is new faces coming into this book, and there are many chapters based on those new faces, and what I found disappointing is those chapters felt like the same voice as our main characters. So that's a bit strange. I would have liked a different type of voice for those other characters, especially the chapters that are based on criminals. I would have liked a different voice, and I'm hoping that that's not a theme with this series, that it'll be the same voice for every character in the books. Our four main characters, and that's Joyce, Elizabeth, Ibrahim and Ron, they're hungry for excitement. They want another murder. And all these characters are in a retirement community. I think they're all over 70. All their adventure, all the excitement from the first case they solved, and that was in the first book, it's got them hungry for more. They want more real life cases. They're not content with just talking about cold cases every week. They want a real life case to get their teeth into. It seems like it's in their blood now. They want more excitement. And they don't have long to wait. Two things happen. The first is with Ibrahim. So Ibrahim is venturing out more. He's a quiet, reserved person, a bit shy as well, and he likes his home. He likes being at home. He doesn't like going out into the world, it seems. And for him, the outside world is anything outside their community. But he's branching out more. He's going to Fairhaven, which is a nearby town. But while he's there one day, he's walking down the street and he gets mugged, and quite violently mugged as well. I mean, he's attacked, he's kicked in the head, kicked in the ribs, so he's injured quite severely. And that knocks him back a lot, and also knocks back the other characters, his friends. We see his changing character development and the way this event affects him, and how it affects the other people, his friends as well. And that's a long-running storyline in this book, runs all the way through. It somehow gets linked to the main crime, and that's where sometimes the main crime is overreached a little bit. You know, we're getting this tenuous link between what happened to Ibrahim and the main crime in the book. And it's fiction, right? So a lot of times authors will do that in these type of books, link different things together, different storylines together into one big overall storyline. And that's just to add a bit more, I guess, intrigue and engagement in the books. And it does work to a degree in this book, but I found it a bit of an overreach sometimes. The other thing that happens is Elizabeth's ex-husband, who still works for MI5, comes asking for help. He wants to be hidden, and he thinks that no better way to hide than hide in this retirement community. He's got people after him, and one group after him is the mafia. And they're after him because they think he's stolen diamonds, $20 million worth of diamonds. He denies it, but everybody thinks he stole it. So Elizabeth and the gang agree to hide him, to help him. Elizabeth has some misgivings, it seems, early on about the truth of his story. A few things happen in this storyline, and I won't go into all of them because there's many twists and turns, many surprises in this storyline about the diamonds, and many characters coming into the book because of it. And every character that comes in seems to have things to hide. We have other MI5 agents coming in as well. We have a money launderer and this go-between, it seems, for different criminals around the world coming into the book as well. He's a very engaging and interesting character in his own right, but he's also somebody that's being investigated by Elizabeth and the gang just to see what happened to those diamonds. There are so many threads in this book linked to those diamonds, but they also link to Ibrahim and what happened to him in town when the characters force these two storylines together. That's when I think the story overreaches. I think we get some situations that are implausible. I know it's fiction, and so things will happen in fiction that won't happen in real life. But it just seemed like overreach to me, especially for who our four main characters are. for people who are retired in their 70s, getting involved in certain situations like this in this book, it felt like more overreach than in book one. Because in book one, it was all about them just solving a case, solving a crime. But in this book, they're injecting themselves into situations that are very dangerous, and younger people who are more able, wouldn't do what these people are doing. They wouldn't even think about it. And I found that aspect just lowered my opinion of this book a little bit. But what I did like about this book, and this is what makes it the cozy mystery element, is the characters. The characters develop more, we learn more about them, and they're still complex. They still have ups and downs, highs and lows. There's comedy going through this book as well, and book one had a lot of comedy, but this book has it all as well with these characters. Elizabeth is developed more in this book, and she's developed in her history, basically, and that history coming into her present day. So we see more of her tradecraft in this book, all the things she used to do when she worked for MI5, coming into who she is now, and how that works for somebody who's retired. And I enjoyed seeing that with Elizabeth. I enjoyed seeing that character open up more on that side of things, because we got to see just how strong she can be and sometimes how dangerous she can be as well. Got to see how her mind works a bit more, and how she can segment different things in her mind, and how she decides things very quickly and gets to the truth of things, and just how clever she is as well. We got to see all that about Elizabeth in this book. Joyce remains for me the best character in this book, in this series, and I enjoy her chapters based on her diary, and that brings her voice to light so much more in this series. And I also enjoyed her storyline this time, trying to find an Instagram username. She wants to get onto Instagram, and she's having trouble finding a username, and she decides on Great Joy 69, and I just found that very humorous. I know it's lowbrow humor, but it's very comical. It adds so much humor through the book, and through the book we just get little tidbits about Instagram all the way through. That suddenly she gets all these personal messages. She's getting thousands of them, but she can't read them. She doesn't know how to read them. And later on, towards the end of the book, her daughter shows her how to read them. And what those messages are is just comical in itself. So I like that the author can add this humour into the books and play on the fact that we've got senior citizens who want to engage with what modern people are engaging with. They want to still engage with the world, and just them kind of being fumbling around and engaging with different things like social media and everything. I found that very interesting and very engaging and very funny in this book. And we even have more things going on with characters in this book that are very engaging. I mean, Bogdan makes return appearance in this book, and he plays a big part in this book, and he just adds a bit of intrigue, a bit of mystery, a bit of excitement in the books as well. And I do like Bogdan interacting with Elizabeth's husband, and I like that how it brings a different side of Bogdan out into the books. His character is very complex, and I enjoy him in the books, and he adds so much. And the storyline with Donna and Donna's mother now dating her boss, I just found that added a lot more complex layers in this book as well, because we just see how Donna reacts with her boss dating her mother, and what that means for Donna's life. How it can be infuriating sometimes, how she's trying to cope with it. We see her growth in how she copes with it through this book. And that just added more realness to Donna's character, because it makes her seem like a real person. On the hunt for the diamonds, this book does become almost like a treasure hunt. There's hidden clues, there's messages, there's secret codes going on, and I enjoy that. I like stories that have clues, codes, hidden things you have to solve, riddles, all that to get to the truth or get to the gold or treasure, whatever it is at the end. I enjoy stories like that, and this book had that. So that added another layer into this book that I really enjoyed. Ron is one of the 4 main characters that I didn't include in the video on the first book in this series. I like his character. Out of the 4, I think he was the most surprising in this book, because this book just brought out different sides to Ron that I didn't imagine. I like the way in this book that he just supports Ibrahim so much. Ron comes across as a very tough character. He's always trying to show a tough side, how strong he is, how manly he is. But he's got a very tender side as well, and softer side, gentler. And he shows that with scenes with Ibrahim, when he's just there for Ibrahim when Ibrahim's hurt in hospital. Ron stays there with him, even stays at the hospital a few days to support his friend. And also when Ron's nephew comes to visit, it shows a different side to Ron. And I enjoyed seeing those different complex sides to Ron and see his character round out more. And I just found that in the first book of the series, we didn't see all that, so I'm glad the author brought that out this time. Kendrick is Ron's nephew who comes to visit Ron for a few days. He's only there for a very short time in this book, but he adds a lot. I like his interactions with Ibrahim, and it seems the author uses Kendrick to bring Ibrahim out of his shell a bit after he's attacked. Kendrick is also pivotal in exposing something about the case, and I enjoyed that as well. I enjoyed this young person coming in and kind of teaching all these old people something. That was just a fascinating aspect to have in the book, and it just brought Kendrick into the light a bit more. I'm hoping Kendrick returns for future books in the series because he does add a lot to the books, and I'd like to see a book where Kendrick comes to stay and stays the whole time, instead of being in and out, because I think Kendrick could be a very important character in this series. Bogdan is a complex character, and of course he was in book 1, but in book 2 that complexity just comes out more. He's a man of mystery. He has a job, he's running the whole development of the extension to this retirement community, but he's got something else that's going on. In his spare time, in his own personal time, what does he do? Nobody knows. He seems to have these shady connections, and there's this mystery around him. Nobody can get through. And I enjoy that about him because it adds just a layer to him that engages you. You want to know the truth about Bogdan. But his other layer is he's got a gentle side, and he shows that so much with all the time he spends with Elizabeth's husband. And Elizabeth's husband in the books is suffering from dementia. But Bogdan spends so much time with him and engages with the husband so much. That just shows a caring side to Bogdan that doesn't come through in his mysterious side, that side we think is maybe quite sinister, and what are those shady connections he has. So the author has done a great job in creating this character because of a character that is very complex, seems very real, but has so many different aspects to him that you just want to learn everything about him. While this book didn't reach the heights of the first book in the series for me, I still enjoyed this. That's down to the characters more than anything. There are parts to the mystery that were fun. I enjoyed the treasure hunt part, solving those clues and riddles to get to the end. I enjoyed that a lot. But there are some parts in the book that just feel too forced. They just feel like the author was trying to put things together too heavy-handedly, and that affected the read for me a little bit. Also, those chapters that aren't based on our main characters, having the same voice, the same feel as the chapters where our main characters are the focus, are the eyes, that just felt strange to me as well. I rate this a 4 out of 5. It's still a series that I want to read. I want to read more. I'm hoping this series is long running. I don't know how many books we can get out of it, but I'm hoping that the author finds ways to bring our 4 main characters into different storylines in some very interesting and intriguing ways. On my channel, I do review quite a few cozy mysteries. If you like cozy mysteries, check out my channel and subscribe. There's also a cozy mystery playlist on my channel. It should be on your screen now.